Konnichiwa, which is what my 74-year-old father has now taken as his standard greeting, which is weird. Apparently it's Japanese for good afternoon, which I suppose is better than his previous greeting of Ongawa, which was Tarzan speak to communicate with the animals. So, anyway, before we get into this mailbag, just want to go over a few things, starting with the delivery error that Gumroad had made on the Laws of Magic third cycle this past week. They assure me that it won't happen again, but they've said that last time it happened. Call me old-fashioned, but I believe that a digital download service's one job is to deliver. You can add as many features as you want, but if it's breaking key base features such as delivering the product, there's going to be problems. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on it. I had to send it out manually myself, which begs the question of why I am paying them. Many of you have given me good recommendations for other alternative sites to use. However, they lack that one thing that actually keeps me with Gumroad. And that is, Gumroad is the only digital download service that I am aware of approved by YouTube for merch annotation links. And I've gone through the list. Now, if I was selling t-shirts, there's 50 of those sites. But as for digital downloads, the only one I'm finding is Gumroad. And that one thing is what is keeping me there. Because I can put links to my programs directly in the video instead of just a description, which is huge considering that virtually all of my customer base is coming from YouTube. And I can slip them nice and quietly in the corner without having to say, hey guys, check out my products on each and every video. I don't want to do that. You don't want me to do that. Nobody's wanting that. So despite all the flaws that Gumroad has, Gumroad is really the only choice, at least until other digital download services are approved for merch annotations. The other thing I want to touch on real quick is after I uploaded the song, and as for me, my inbox exploded. So I just want to get some of the more popular ones out of the way real quick. Yes, that is really me, although a much younger me. How much of it did I do? All of it. And no, I will not have your children. Because I'm a guy. And that's biologically impossible. Unless you meant to offer the children you already have up to me, in which case I'm still going to pass. I have 99 problems, but kids aren't one of them. Mad props to those of you who do. Don't know where you find the time. My brother's going through that right now. He's on his second kid, and he's got to sneak in his little naps as, his son naps. Gets all upset if something wakes him up. I swear every year at Christmas somebody shows up with a baby. I'm going to start handing out contraceptives as gifts. But back on topic, I thought people would get a kick out of that song. I had been asked before to upload some of my music. A few people had requested and wanted to hear that, which I originally wasn't going to do, simply because I do have a unique sounding voice and would be easily recognized by those who know me. But then again, I figured, that's just going to be local, and the odds of being recognized are going to be quite low. So I just picked one of the better quality tracks because some of them are quite demo-ish. I started recording on a 4-track and, ended up moving up to an 8 eventually, but haven't recorded anything really new in quite a while. But I figured I'd throw that out there for those who are interested in that kind of thing. Maybe if people really do like the tracks, maybe I'll start recording again. Maybe I'll pick something from the vault here and there to share. Just understand that these tracks are before I got into magic. And I think that if I got into music again, that my focus now would be much different. Now, I did put that track up on Gumroad for those who are interested in downloading it. I don't know how long I'll leave it up. I'm not really sure if I want to mix it with, my other programs there on Gumroad. But I thought I would put it there for those who, basically want like a collector's item or something. All right, so with all that out of the way, let's get into this mailbag. It's going to be a rapid fire type of mailbag. At least that's what I'm planning. If it's a short question, I may read it out loud. If not, I'm just going to summarize it and then answer it. And if you want, you can pause the video and read it in its entirety if you so choose. And I'm going to do this for time, especially considering that I'm about 6.5 minutes into this already. So, let's get into it. Alright, so this fool, and I say that in the most loving way possible, no offense, but this fool wrote me like 20 paragraphs. And, I keep telling you guys not to do that. I mean, come on, man. I mean, if it's too big to fit on the screen, then I'm usually not going to answer that. But I will in this case because it pertains to the Words of Power program on magically influencing others. So basically he had a relationship breakup, and several months later he decided to remotely influence her using what I've taught in Words of Power, and he had great success. And she started chasing him around, and he kind of pushed her off, believing that it was all a coincidence. And then the spell wore off. And then he tried it again like a year later and started getting the results. She started seeking him out again, but he didn't take action once more. And then the spell ended. And he became obsessed with replicating the magic, but is not getting the results anymore. He wants to know what he's doing wrong, to the point where he joined a scientific research study on occultism as a test subject, trying to find the answers of what he's doing wrong and how he's not able to reproduce what he had once gotten, and wants to pay me for a consultation. Look, you don't need to do all that. This is a classic case of the conscious mind getting in the way. That's really all it is. It's not your only mistake, however, so let's get into this a little bit. From my experience, magic is going to create the opportunity for you. Whether or not you seize that opportunity when it arrives is entirely up to you. So you got this girl chasing after you, but what did you do about it? Did you seize upon that opportunity, or did you let it pass you by? If you don't take the opportunity that the magic presents to you, it's over. And it's going to be that much more difficult to create another opportunity for that particular thing. From the perspective of the subconscious, you don't know what you really want. Why should it work to bring you what you're asking for if you're rejecting it once it brings it to you? So that's the first mistake. Then you became obsessed with recreating the results of the operation. And this bred doubt. Now, hopefully you were keeping good notes, because this is one of those times when keeping good notes is going to be most beneficial to you, so that you can do exactly what you did before to replicate it. But you started having this doubt, and I've said it, how many times that doubt will kill your magic quicker than anything. See, when you first started doing it, You had enough faith to try it, and then you released the expectation of it because you really didn't think it was going to happen, and so it happened. And you answered your own question in this 20-paragraph message that you thought it may have to do with the law of least expectance, and you're correct. Obsessing on it is lust for results. You're not releasing the request, and you're having doubt. Just asking the question, what am I doing wrong, is evidence of doubt. And those two things right there will cancel out anything that you're doing. So there's your answer. You have to stop being doubtful. You have to release your expectation and lust for results, get rid of that obsession, and seize upon the opportunities when they're presented to you. It's really not that complicated. Certainly not complicated enough to have a scientific study done on you. Science is on the conscious side of the mind, quantifying things, measuring things, rationalizing things. The subconscious doesn't care about any of that. But, here's the thing. Why are you going to put this poor girl through all of this? You say you haven't found anybody with that kind of passion. Well, here's an idea. Why not cast for somebody with that kind of passion instead of getting this girl to do something that she doesn't want to do? Because regardless, even if you seize upon the opportunity, in my experience, when you are doing these kind of love spells and subconscious influence on others, it's only going to last so long anyway until their true will kicks in. And this is why love spells cast on a specific person many times end up becoming a relationship from hell. It's always better to cast for the qualities of that specific person that you want rather than the specific person themselves. So try that and then release that expectation and see how that works for you. And lastly, he wanted to know, how is it that I was able to influence somebody that I have never met? And the answer to that is the client gave me links. If I wasn't given the sympathetic links, I would have a much more difficult time influencing someone half a world away. I appreciate the question. Just make sure it's shorter next time. All right, this next person wants to know if they should be doing affirmations in addition to rejecting negative thoughts and accepting positive thoughts, because they're not getting as many positive thoughts coming in as they are negative thoughts. And yeah, you can. I mean, I don't see why not. If you get into a habit of banishing your negative thoughts, not as many will come around. It's almost like the negative thoughts will stop trying. So it's not necessary, but it can help. And most people are going to have the same issue. I mean, I had a similar problem. You're aware enough to recognize that your mindset is mostly negative, and keep focusing on banishing that so that you can have positive thoughts start to replace them. You are in the process of changing your mindset. And when you're starting out, you're going to see that, yes, most of the thoughts that you have are negative thoughts, which is going to filter down and manifest your reality. And you say that you're not happy right now. So it's got to start there. So just keep doing it. If you want to add affirmations into the mix, feel free. But the important thing is that you continue to reject those negative thoughts. When the positive ones start coming in, accept those. This person also wants to know how to release their negative emotions, because they don't want to just dump them onto someone else, which is good, which is a good thing. And you're going to have to find some sort of expressive outlet. Now, for me, it was music, and I'm sure a lot of musicians can relate to that. But you can also, lift weights, exercise, and release it that way, working out that aggression and push that negativity out of your body. There are a number of expressive outlets that you can use. Those are just two off the top of my head. But you're going to have to find something like that. Also, make sure you're getting decent nutrition, because it's hard to be happy when you feel like crap. See, a lot of these negative emotions aren't just stored in the mind, they're actually stored in the body, like cellular memory. So proper nutrition and physical activity will go a long way to assist you in releasing a lot of that. And I appreciate the questions. Thanks. Alright, this person says he made an error in judgment by letting other people know of his magical endeavors and wants to know if and how it can be corrected. Which is kind of like asking someone how they can look at Monica Lewinsky and not think about how she blew the president. There are just some things that you're not going to live down. And the people that you tell about your magical operations and endeavors that are at best not into that and at worst opposed to that are going to remember that. Oh, here's that weird guy that's into all that Satan stuff. Every time they see you, they're going to remember their judgments about you. That's just what people do. You know, I started reading tarot when I was a teenager, and a few of my acquaintances from back in the day who maybe seen me once or twice with the cards will still to this very day, anytime I see them, oh, you're still doing the tarot cards? Remember you doing the tarot cards? In this snarky, condescending way, as if it's a bad thing. You know, we're talking back in an era when, you know, Miss Cleo, psychic hotline was going on, and they already have this negative connotation about tarot readings, and so they automatically lump you into that. Now look, it may subside over time, but once the damage is done, it's done. I mean, you could always get new friends. Even better if you can find new friends who are into that type of thing. Unfortunately, we live in a world where people are going to have their judgments about you and are by and large very closed-minded. It's best just to not make it worse by sharing your enthusiasm for something that they just don't understand. And I appreciate the question. Thanks. Alright, this next question comes from someone who's having an issue with reconciling faith with the scientific uncertainty principle. That nothing can be 100% certain, so how do you have 100% faith in your magical operations? I really want to break out some Thomas Dolby right now. She blinded me with science. I would, but the way YouTube is today, I don't want to infringe upon any copyright or anything. So, again, this is the conscious mind just getting in the way. The subconscious doesn't care about any of that. Now, the more successes that you get under your belt, the more you're going to have faith. Doubt is the absolute killer of magic. And to quote my own song that I just put up, and as for me, well, there can be no doubt. If you have doubt while you're doing your magic, you're injecting that doubt into the operation. And if you don't think that your operation is going to work while you're doing the operation, it's not going to work. But at the same time, it did work because you put that it wouldn't work into the operation itself. Now, if you're looking to get past that and have absolute faith, you need to just simply not worry about what the rest of the world is saying and doing. I can tell from your message that you are very analytical minded, very conscious side dominant, very logical. And when it comes to performing magic, that will be your own worst enemy. You're going to have to suspend your disbelief, just as you do when you watch any Hollywood movie. There's always some disbelief that you're going to have to suspend, at least for the duration of your operation. You have to have confidence in your magic and your magical abilities. And I appreciate the question. Thanks. Alright, so this person says that I was in their dreams and now they want to show me something interesting. That's cool, just no dick pics. Can't really tell if you're male or female from your YouTube name, so I thought I'd put that boundary there. But I appreciate the sentiment and kind words. Alright, should we keep going? I know we're coming up on like 20 minutes. We'll do a couple more and then maybe even do a part 2, since I took up the first 7 minutes talking about Gumroad and the song. Alright, this next person wants to know of any books or websites that would be helpful in starting out to take this magical path seriously. And again, I will refer you to Kabbalah, Magic, and the Great Work of Self-Transformation by Liam Thomas Christopher, which will reference all the other books that you'll need. It is a complete self-initiation course. You want to know if you should be doing the Lesser Banishing Ritual of the Pentagram along with the Middle Pillar, and that's primarily what the entire Neophyte grade consists of. So yes, and I appreciate the question, thanks. Alright, someone wants to know if I'm going to be doing any videos on numerology. Probably at some point. There aren't any plans at the moment. But I do appreciate you asking. Thank you. Alright, so this next viewer wants to know, how do I reconcile not drifting from Napoleon Hill's Outwitting the Devil with Eckhart Tolle's philosophy of being present to the moment? I'm not really seeing the contradiction in the two, though. Can you not be present to the moment while you're on your purpose? I just don't see being present to the moment as being la-di-da and just drifting around aimlessly. I mean, you know, I talk about R.S.D. Tyler. He's a big Eckhart Tolle fan who could probably quote entire sections of his books to you and always talks about being present to the moment. Would you say that R.S.D. Tyler is drifting? I think anyone would be hard-pressed to find someone who is more on their purpose than Tyler. So I think that your idea of being present to the moment is wrong. Going with the flow doesn't mean that you can't have a purpose in what you're doing. And I'll try to put it into some context here. Every so often, me and my buddies will go and have like a guy's night out. Now, anytime that we try to plan it out, like try to scrutinize over the details, oh, we're going to go here and then we're going to go here, it usually turns out to be a sucky night. But anytime we've ever just set the intention, well, we're just going to go out and have fun and just go with the flow, whatever comes our way, we end up having an awesome night. Now, in both instances, we had a purpose to go out and have fun. And it's when we let go and we're present to the moment and went with the flow that we'd have the most fun. And so it's very similar to the way that magic works anyway. You set your intention and then you release your expectation. And see, when we tried to plan it out, we have all these expectations and it rarely ever pans out. But when we have a come what may attitude after setting our intention, releasing all expectation, and just being present to the moment that we're in, we have an awesome time. Now, if you take this principle and apply it to the other areas of your life, you will see a lot of things open up to you. And you'll begin to see how these two things don't contradict each other at all. You still want to have a purpose and a direction in where you want to go. Once you've established that, then you go with the flow to take you there. And I do appreciate the question. And that will be all we have time for today. I do still have a lot of messages to go through, so I'm sure there's going to be a part 2. I want to thank all of you for watching and taking the time to send in your questions, and I will see you next time. Take care.